Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Duty's Daggers. Today we're talking about Christmas gift ideas. If you're like me, I have a hard time coming up with gift ideas for people. I seem to never really know what to get them. And so I usually end up getting them something EDC related or a knife because that's what I'm into. But I usually try to pick something that, it's not something that you need to be really into knives to enjoy and to appreciate. So I'm going to show you a couple things, a lot of things, some knives, some kind of keychain, gadgets, some other type of EDC stuff. And these are all things that I've picked out because they are kind of entry-level items. You don't need to know how to operate them. You don't need to have some kind of knowledge to appreciate them. They're just going to be all around useful and good stuff. So before we get into it, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do it. This is a fun channel. You'll be happy that you did it. And follow me on Instagram at duties_daggers as well. And I think I'm going to start putting the channel sticker right there. How about that? Or maybe right here. We'll put it right there. So let's get into it. First, let's show a couple knives, and then we'll get into some keychain stuff, and then we'll go back to some knives maybe. We'll kind of just mix it up. So this first category of knives, I think, is one of the best options if you don't want to spend much money, but you want to get a good quality item. And that is Rough Rider knives. Now, Rough Rider knives makes mostly slip joints. So if you have a family member, grandfather, dad, anybody that doesn't really want the bells and whistles that you see on a lot of modern knives, I feel like a slip joint's a really good way to go. They're just simple. Everyone knows how to operate them, and Rough Rider has some really, really good stuff for a very good price. First, before I show them to you, just so you know, I'm going to be linking all this stuff down below. So it'll take you right to the site, Amazon or wherever it is, and you click on it, it takes you right to it. You can buy it there. So this first Rough Rider here is called the Work Knife. It's just called the Work Knife. The reason for that is it's just a really good work knife. It looks great. This knife is less than $30. It might even be like 20 something. But we have some really nice black and blue layered micarta for the handles, stainless steel bolsters, and brass liners. I have a lanyard on mine. You can put one on if you feel like it. Now, the action on this thing is really nice. Nice and stiff. Doesn't feel sloppy or mushy. And look at that blade shape. This is a Wharncliffe blade, meaning that you have a straight edge and a very low tip. This knife is going to be excellent for cutting tasks. The way I like to hold the knife is I kind of butt this end up in my palm, I put my pointer finger out, and I do my draw cuts. I rip into packages. Whatever I'm doing, this blade will take care of it. It's thin, it's pointy, it's just a really useful blade shape and a very useful knife. Get a full grip on it easily, so it's not a small knife, it's a medium-sized knife. And this action, man, it's stiff, it's everything that you want in a slip joint. This is an excellent knife. This is probably my favorite Rough Rider. Now let's look at another Rough Rider. Maybe you're maybe you want to get a little crazy. This is the Rough Rider Hawkbill. Look at this crazy thing. This is a Hawkbill blade. It might look funky, but let me tell you, this thing absolutely destroys packages. This is my main package opener, and it breezes through any type of packaging so easily. Since you have that hook shape, it just rips in and you just slice it. It's really, really amazing. I bought it. I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it, and it turns out that I really do. We have some faux bone here. We have the little Rough Rider logo shield. Stainless bolsters, brass liners, and look at the polish on this thing. That is just a really good looking blade. This thing is around 15 bucks, so really, really excellent price. And lastly, let's do another Rough Rider. This is the Rough Rider Apta. This is another one of my favorite Rough Riders. This one in particular here has copper scales, so you get it from you get it in the mail. It's going to be nice, bright, shiny copper, and then as you use it, It's going to patina, from the oils of your hand and whatever else. And so it kind of becomes personalized that way, which I really love. Some people are not patina fans. I am a huge patina fan. It just, your knives or whatever else it is, they really become your own once you start to get your patina on there. This one, the action is incredible as well. Just really nice and stiff. Nice pop when you open it. And we have kind of a peculiar looking blade shape. This is a sheep's foot blade with kind of a shallow flat grind. But this thing cuts, surprisingly well for how shallow this bevel is. I like to hold this knife the same as the work knife, just kind of like this. And it works really, really well. It's just a handsome knife, something a little unique with the copper. It is a little heavy because of that copper, but there's different handle options. Rough Rider. They're just really good. I mean, really good knives for very little money. I'll put a link to White Mountain Knives, which is where I buy my Rough Rider knives. If you use my code DUTY3, you'll get a 10% discount, and they'll be even cheaper. And if none of these three really appealed to you, there's literally hundreds of different Rough Riders on there for you to choose from. I guarantee you'll find something on there that fits your fancy, or for whoever you're buying a gift for, whatever they're into. So that's Rough Rider knives. Now before we do some more knives, let's go into some other little EDC type gadgets. Let's see here. Let's do some brass. Let's talk about some brass. I love me some brass. As with the copper, brass doesn't quite patina as heavily, which is kind of nice because, after a while this copper is going to become almost brown. But with brass, you still get a little bit of the shine, but also some patina. So let's talk about 3 brass items here really quick. This first one here is a little peanut lighter. I'll put a link for it below. As always, I'm not going to keep saying that. That's the last time I'm going to say it. They'll all be linked below. This one is made of brass, and it's basically just a tiny little lighter. Check it out. You unscrew it. You have a cotton in there, like a Zippo, to hold the lighter fluid. And it's just a tiny little lighter. Very cool. This is great to just throw in a survival kit. Take camping, throw on your backpack. You never know when you're going to want a little bit of flame. Very small, fits on your keychain super duper well. This thing is cool, very cheap, just a kind of a cool item. I think anyone would be excited to get this. It's just cool. And then we have the Fisher Space Pen in brass. I love this pen very, very much. I'm not super into EDC pens, but I had this one and I love it. Full brass, really small too, but actually it turns into a full-sized pen when you do that. So you're not, sacrificing a comfortability of a pen. This clip is aftermarket. I'll put a link for it down below too, though. So you can stick this in your shirt pocket, wherever you want to put it. It's very small. It'll fit really anywhere. But the main reason I put the clip on was because I would set it down on the table and it would just roll off constantly. So that's why I have the clip on there. The Fisher Space Pen in brass. And finally, for the brass category, this is the Olight IR3 EOS. Now, if you don't like this brass, you can get a bunch of other options. This one I have patinaed with a shipwreck pattern, so it's not going to come like this from Olight. It's just going to be brass, like the pen here. But this is really a fantastic EDC flashlight. Very cheap, around 30, 35 bucks. It's not rechargeable. It takes a AAA. It has a low mode and a high mode. I think the high mode is around 300 lumens. Actually, one of my favorite things about this light is it has a regular pocket clip, but it also has this part of the clip that actually clips onto your hat brim. So if you're wearing a hat, you can clip it on like that, and it basically turns it into a headlamp. Really useful around the shop. I carry a different flashlight now, but when I carried this around the shop, it was really, really nice. If I'm doing something with both hands, pop that on your hat, and you have light. So really, really cool brass items. I mean, you could even get them all 3. Get them like a little brass EDC. Maybe even throw the APTA in there, even though it's not brass. It's similar. So yeah, there's some brass stuff. How about a multi-tool? I really think that anyone would like to get a multi-tool. They're just so useful. throw them in your purse, in your truck, wherever you want to keep it. But it's just nice to have tools around. This one in particular here is the Victorinox Tinker. And I have added these micarta scales onto mine, but when you get it, you're going to get either red or black for these scales here. Let's look at the tools. We have the large knife, and look at the shine on all these. All these tools have a really nice polish on them. Just looks really classy. So we got the large blade. We have the small blade, which is a little bit dirty right now. I've been using it. You have a cap lifter, can opener, and a large flathead. And then you have a can opener and a smaller flathead there. And then on the other side, you have this really nice Phillips head that's kind of at a 90-degree angle, so you can grip it like this if you really got to crank on something. I end up using this thing a lot. And then you have the awl, and then, of course, the toothpick and tweezers. Really good, just bare minimum of tools. The knife is good. All the tools function just fine, perfectly great. Victorinox Tinker. There you go. All right, let's show a couple more knives, and then we'll get into some more like keychain type EDC items. So I've picked out 4 knives here that are, well, one of them is over $50, but the rest are under $50. One of them is right at 50, one's a little bit over, but they're all right around $50, and they're all, I think, very, very good sort of entry-level knives. So let's start with the Civivi Elementum. This is a very popular knife within the knife slash EDC world, and that's because it's just a very good knife, and it's very simple. It's simple in a good way. It's just, there's no frills. It functions as a knife should. It functions very well as a knife, and people just love it. So we have micarta on the handles, brown micarta, but this thing comes in a ton of different options. You can get Cocobolo wood handles. I actually bought this knife for my dad for Father's Day one year. I got him the wood handled version, and if you buy it from certain retailers, you can even get it engraved. So I forget what I think I put "I love you, Dad" or something on the blade here. So that's another really cool gift idea. You can get them an Elementum here, or any knife really, and put a little message on there for them. So the Elementum here has a hollow grind, so it's really thin at the edge. This thing is slicey. It's a drop point blade shape, so really versatile, really useful blade. We have a deep carry pocket clip. You have a spot for a lanyard there if you want one of those. It's a liner lock, so I feel like most anybody will be familiar with the liner lock, and if they're not, it's very easy to learn how to operate. The only means of deployment is just the flipper tab, so that's all you need to worry about. And let me tell you, this flipper tab works very, very well. You don't need to know how to flip this knife. All you do, you push that down and the blade pops out. This thing's got a great detent. You cannot fail it. The blade just flies out every time. And I think that's important for, a new knife owner. I know when I first handed this knife to my dad, he had never operated a flipper tab before, and he got it first try. So that's just great. You don't want to hand somebody a knife and they go to flick it and just goes, well, halfway. They're like, that doesn't feel good. You want it to just pop out, and this knife does every time. That's right around $50. How about the Ontario Rat Model 2? This is a very popular knife as well. For a long time, it was kind of the budget knife king. Just because there's so much bang for your buck here. It's a really good design for a really low price, right around $40-$45. Nowadays there's a lot more options in that price range, but this is still a really, really good option. Instead of a flipper tab, we thumb studs here, which are very, very easy to operate, kind of like the flipper tab. All you do is apply a little pressure, and the blade is just absolutely flying out. We have a drop point blade, a little bit of a different blade shape, but useful nonetheless. This one is, I would argue, a little bit more comfortable in the hand. We have a thumb ramp here, so you're really locked in, and you can choke up right here and get closer to the edge if you want. There's not a deep carry pocket clip on this one, but it functions very well as a clip. You can tell that I use this knife a lot. This is just a really good, straightforward knife. Excellent. The Ontario Rat Model 2. Now, if you want to get a little more crazy, but still at a very good price, how about a Kubi? Even if you don't get this one in particular, Kubi knives make just really excellent knives, like I've been saying for all of these, at a very good price point. This one here is the Kubi Koyas, and this one will take a little bit more practice to get used to. If you're not used to reverse flicking your knives, this one might take this one might have a little bit of a learning curve. But if you want to buy a knife for somebody who's into knives, this one would be a great option as well. Really just snappy detent. I mean, you can even tell in the video that this blade just flies out so nicely. Jade G10 handles, but there's a bunch of different color options. Deep carry clip. Comfortable in the hand. You got a little thumb ramp here. I really like this knife. I thought about not including it just because it's a little like, it's a little edgy for if you're trying to buy a knife for somebody that's not into knives. But I just got it and I've really been loving it, so I just had to put it in the video. That's really the reason. This is an excellent knife. Kubi Koyas. And then lastly, for knives, I think a button lock for somebody that's just getting into knives is a really good option. I handed this specific knife, to my mother, who, aside from kitchen knives and maybe a slip joint here and there, she's really never handled a folding knife. I handed this knife to her, and I said, push the thumb stud, flick it open. She got it. I don't think she got it first try, but she flicked it open. And she was looking around. She said, well, how do I close it? And I said, well, all you have to do is push the button. And she pushed the button. The blade fell closed. It is so simple, especially with a good button lock like this one, the Civivi Altus. It's just a button. I mean, we have buttons everywhere. You push buttons all day. It's really cool to have one on a knife. All you do is you kind of tilt it downwards so the blade will fall, and you just push the button. The blade goes away. It's that simple. I feel like a button lock for someone, like I said, just getting into knives is just a really, really good option. This one in particular, man, I love this knife. It's a medium size. You get a full grip. Thin blade, drop point, just a really good, versatile blade. And just looks good. It's sleek. It's clean. Very, very good knife. The Civivi Altus. So there's 4 knives that I think would be good for giving as gifts. Alrighty, let's move on here to some keychain items. I really like keychain stuff. I've had to kind of cut back on them recently just because I had too much on my keys. But I wanted to show you a couple of them that I carry on my keys that I love. This first one is another flashlight. It's another Olight, in fact. The Olight IR2 EOS. This thing is tiny, man. Look at it compared to my truck key. It's small. There's you can just push it in to get to the low mode. Oh, is it dead? No, it's not. There we go. You can push it in to get to the low mode. Great for just looking around your room in the dark. And then you twist it. It goes low and then high. This thing is surprisingly bright for how small it is. I think it's 150 lumens. And one of the best parts is it's rechargeable. So you twist that, it pops out. There's the recharging port. I think it's USB-C. This is the best keychain flashlight that I've found. It holds a charge forever, great size, and just works really well. How about a key organizer? Here's the Key Bar Junior. You can get the larger one that holds more keys, but this one works great for me because I only have 4 main keys that I need to have on it. Carries 4 keys. This one's aluminum. You can get them made out of different materials though. And there's a little loop that pops out the top, so you can connect your split ring or whatever you're going to connect it to your key ring with. And then your keys just fold out. It's that simple. You get to the one you want, you pop it out, you open whatever you're opening, and you fold it back in. It's just simple. It's a really good way to organize your keys. I've tried a lot of different key organizers, and this is my favorite so far. Absolutely. I think that's a good gift. And then, how how about another multi-tool that can also be on a keychain, the Leatherman Micra. This thing's tiny. Whoopsie. It's tiny. I think it might be a little heavy to hang on the keys, but in the past I've just connected a lanyard to this, and then I stuck it in my little my fifth pocket in my jeans, and it's really handy to have. This one has scissors on it instead of pliers, and these scissors function very, very well. I've never come across anything that I couldn't cut with these. They're really good scissors. Let's see what other. Yeah, we have other tools. We have tweezers. We have a flathead / pry tool, and we have a cap lifter and a tiny little flathead. We have a tiny little knife. We have a nail file and a fingernail cleaner, and then another little bit larger flathead. So yeah, just some bare minimal tools, but the real star of the show is the scissors, and I really like just this whole package here. It looks good. It's small. Cool little multi-tool. And I believe that is it. Good thing because my voice is going away. Let's get out everything here. We had the Civivi Elementum. We had the Ontario Rat Model 2. And I'm losing light. We had the Kubi Koyas. We had the Civivi Altus. We had the Victorinox Tinker. We had the Rough Rider Work Knife, the Rough Rider Apta, and the Rough Rider Hawkbill. Not really room for that one. It'll be off to the side there. Or I can put it right here. We had the Fisher Space Pen in brass. We had the Olight IR3 EOS in brass. We had the little peanut lighter in brass. We had the Olight IR2 EOS keychain flashlight. We had the Keybar Junior in aluminum. And we had the Leatherman Micra. And that was it. There's your gift ideas. You shouldn't need to look any further. I think one of these things would work for literally anybody. There you go. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Merry Christmas. Adios.